Champions, your victory at the Nighthold has granted us the key to ending this war. With the Pillars of Creation assembled, we finally have the power to cut the demons off from our world. Kil'jaedan failed, and so shall the Legion.
Kil'jaedan was merely their pawn. Until victory is assured, we must remain vigilant. For the Legion's true masters have yet to reveal themselves. Among them, the monster who hunted my people across the stars. Kil'Jaedan. The day I took the Fellfire into my veins, I saw my destiny. A grand crusade that would reach the ends of creation. That was the vision you showed me. Our crusade will prevail. Everything we have done has been by your design. And all we have to show for it is failure. Perhaps you lost sight of our destiny. Perhaps I overestimated your resolve. I paid for that destiny with my world. The time has come to see it done. Burn it to ash.
Quite a sight, isn't it? By the way, I hope you guys enjoyed that trailer there, because that may be the last one I have for you for quite some time, because there really wasn't one for Antorus, and there sort of wasn't... Well, okay, I take that back. There was the one for Nazjatar when we get to Eternal Palace eventually someday, and I could sort of do the one for 8.3, which was for Nyalotha, but, you know, that's not necessarily about, you know, about the raid. Like I said, I missed the ones where it was about the raid, you know, where it actually showed some of the raid and really helped tell the story of the raid. And we really haven't had one since the one you guys just saw. Like, that was more so about the patch, and it's a lead into the Broken Shore area here, but that was it. Like, that's basically it since then. So I thought I would kind of show that because, well, that's been one of the main reasons why this expansion has happened. The Fellstorm. Which has been, you know, opened via the Tomb of Sargeras, which, I mean, this has, you know, quite a bit of history to it. You know, the short story about Gul'dan opening the Fellstorm was kind of interesting, especially the interaction he had with Kil'jaedan. And then, of course, there's the history of the Tomb of Sargeras, which many of us first learned about this place back in Warcraft 3, when people who played Frozen Throne then heard that we were going to go back to the Tomb of Sargeras in this expansion. They got all excited, like, oh my gosh, we're going back to the Tomb of Sargeras and the Broken Isles, holy moly. And they even, of course, knew about Suramar, because that was even name-dropped in Frozen Throne. So, yeah. Thing is, though, there are some things we still, to this day, do not know about what's somewhat going on in here at least when it comes to one or two plot points that to this day have never really been answered. And we've tried to search for information, and we have never really gotten any confirmation from the writers or developers about this. I'll point it out when we get there, but yeah, this is also extremely pivotal. This is us trying to accomplish something that we have been looking to do since the beginning of the expansion. As Khadgar said in that trailer, now that we have all 5 pillars of creation, we use them. Now, part of the story is, of course, the dungeon Cathedral of Eternal Nights, which is right over here, where you go in and you put the Aegis of Agrimar, which we got in Stormheim, in a place, because we have to put the pillars in certain places to kind of help us amplify being able to close the portal, because that's what they were able to be used for long ago as well. We also encounter Aegwynn, or rather an echo of Aegwynn. She left an echo behind to kind of help us in a situation like this in the future. Kind of a, if you're listening to this, then things have gotten bad again, and I left this in place to help guide you in this situation, to be able to know what to do. So after we find that out in the dungeon, it's like, okay, well, we need to go into the raid because, now that we have this information, we got to get ourselves ready, and we got to work on it. As Illidan said, it seems preparations are in order. So yeah, we are going in here to finally end the invasion of the Burning Legion here on Azeroth. I want you to keep that in mind. It's extremely important. It comes down to a couple of times that we've had past interactions before with the Legion, that our goal from the very beginning of this expansion was to get the Pillars of Creation so we could seal the portal and just simply seal them away. Our goal wasn't to defeat the Burning Legion for good, permanently, and end their threat once and for all. It was just simply something that you see in fiction, many different forms of fiction all the time. How many different things of fiction have you guys seen where rather than defeating the enemy permanently or killing them, they seal them away because they think they can't defeat them? So we shall seal them away and just write, "Do not open" on this box here, and just hope that no one years from now in the future ever actually opens it and releases them and brings doom upon us because we couldn't kill them back then, so we just seal them away. How often do you see that? I've seen it in Power Rangers, for goodness sakes. Jungle Fury specifically, although there were some other seasons that did the same thing. I mean, Rita Repulsa wasn't killed, so she was sealed away and hoped to never be seen again. But it's such a common thing you see in fiction. They don't want to actually try and kill them; they just seal them away. Let's not win the war. Let's just win a battle and postpone it. And let's like inconvenience them. You know? Glad to see I'm not the only player that decides, hey, I can go up here. I hated this thing, by the way. As someone who has done this entire campaign here on every single class so I could get all of these mounts, oh my gosh, I hated the syntax. the syntax, this thing here, I hated this thing so much. Having to get the stuff for this on every class was one of the biggest pains I've ever had to do in this game. But I did it. I have the one I'm using for my Death Knight right now, and I have it for every class. Yes, I actually pulled that off. Anyways, back to talking about the raid. Now, there's also a really fun Easter egg that I was never able to show you guys the first time I tried to show this on camera. The first time I tried to show this on camera, I actually had to pull the birthday card, where I was basically trying to record it on my birthday and basically telling people, hey, it's my birthday, I need a group to help get me through this because I'm trying to show it on camera for my playthrough, but I need a group. And this was back when I was doing it on my shaman, who wasn't max level, because I was basically refusing to go into BFA content until I was done with Legion content at that point, and I was very behind, and I had to... Yeah, I pulled the birthday card to try and do that, but it was basically a fast run-through. It didn't go very well. Plus, we were so... This time I'll be able to actually take my time and kind of like go at a slower pace and try to show as much of the story, plus hopefully won't have any people talking over. Now, there is unfortunately the possibility, just like we had with Elisand in the Nighthold, where some dialogue may not play, it may bug, it may talk over. I'm sorry. There's not much I can do at that point. There are also going to be a couple of things that I'm going to have to talk about and just stop at certain points just to talk about it. But yeah. This raid is mixed. It's a mixed bag. I have mixed feelings towards it, and I know I'm not alone. There are some people I know that really like this raid, and then I know some people that really don't like this raid. Part of it has to do with the mythic versions of these fights. I'll discuss why everyone probably hates mythic Kil'jaedan. See, unlike Gul'dan, Kil'jaedan is not very well liked. Gul'dan was very well liked as a fight, including on mythic. Kil'jaedan, a lot of people did not like mythic Kil'jaedan and other mythic versions of this fight, though one of the other mythic fights is considered one of the toughest fights, though not necessarily a great fight. I'm one of those who believes that difficulty doesn't make it good. Just because something is hard and difficult doesn't mean it's actually good. That's just my opinion. I know I'm not alone in that opinion, though. That when it comes to how a fight is designed, when it comes to mechanics and such. But that's, but hey, I'm just one of those, I guess I can say. So, yeah, I'll try and kind of also showcase some of the stuff here because it has a pretty cool aesthetic. It also is worth noting that this is where Legion started to take a more darker turn. Like, from this point onward, we've had kind of, Warcraft has always been dark. Like, some of the stuff that you see in things like the Scourge is pretty dark. But usually Warcraft has had the dark elements of its setting be kind of romanticized, However, from this point onwards, some of the dark content is not very romanticized. It's just messed up. Now, whether or not that's good or appealing, that's up to you. I personally am not too fond of some of the just messed up stuff that we're going to be encountering later on. I'll comment on this more so when we get to Antorus. But, yeah, I guess it really depends on your preference. If you like, dark, horrible, messed up things, gore, that stuff, more power to you, I guess. It's not for me. I'm not much of a gore person. There are certain things I've actually heard about and I've actually refused to see because I've heard about how messed up, horrible, gory, dark they are. The film Human Centipede, for example. I've heard about that film. I never intend to see it because, oh my gosh, screw that. Why would I want to? I've even seen I haven't seen the entire thing. I've seen, some people's reactions to John Carpenter's The Thing. And that was enough. I've also seen, a good chunk of The Fly. Not the original, but the one with Jeff Goldblum. Oh my gosh, I almost vomited watching that. That kind of stuff, I'm just, no thank you. But then again, that was the 80s. That was kind of a common thing back then, wasn't it? Now, there's really nothing here that kind of gives that kind of reaction. Though there are some things in Argus that kind of did. But I'll talk about that when we get there. In the meantime, what do you say we actually now start this off? Now, what I like about the entrance here is that it's not hard to miss. We get the big Tomb of Sargeras, which, by the way, if you can't notice the statues there...
welcomes you.
Thank you, Minerva. This also used to be the Temple of Elune. The Temple of Elune. We'll actually hear some comments on this as we go through, plus we're going to be encountering some forces in here that are kind of like remaining remnants of the forces that were here or used to guard this place or watch over it. We're also going to be encountering some Naga, and there's a reason for that. It's also a little bit of a teaser, I guess, for what was going to happen in BFA with the Naga and Nazjatar. But anyways. But yeah, at this point, we also would have had a quest to... We have the Pillars of Creation. We're now going to go through it and place them at certain places in the raid. We have to defeat the bosses in order to be able to get access to those locations to place the Pillars of Creation. So, yeah. Big green portal at the doorway. It's not hard to miss the entrance to this raid. You just fly over to the entrance here and just go through the big portal here. So, yeah. Let me just double check. Yeah, normal. We're doing this on normal. We are not doing this on Mythic. So, you know, this is where we really get an actual Burning Legion raid. Now, we're going to get this more so when we get to...
The attention of more than just the Legion. Kelpfist, a greedy and powerful sea giant.
World Quest, ignore that. But Nighthold had Gul'dan and a few Legion forces like Tichondrius, but we haven't really had an actual Burning Legion raid up until then. Now, this will more so be the case when we get to Argus. That's like the Burning Legion raid. Here, like I said, we're dealing with a mix. Legion, Naga, and remaining Temple of Elune Watchers. I'll get to that when we get there. But, yeah. Welcome to the Tomb of Sargeras. Aegwynn used this sacred Temple of Elune to lock away the defeated Sargeras' avatar. She hoped that it would remain dormant, buried deep within the earth, but the lure of power has continued to draw foul entities to this site. When Gul'dan, the original Gul'dan from, and we saw this in Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne, when he re-entered the tomb, he tore down Aegwynn's wards and opened a doorway for the Legion to invade. Okay, I take that back. Because both Gul'dans have been here. Okay, I take that back. The original Gul'dan, of course, came here in Warcraft 3: Frozen Throne to try and gain the power of Sargeras, because he was basically power-hungry and wanted to kind of get back at the Legion and betray them, which led to his death. Alternate Gul'dan, the one we just defeated in Nighthold, came here in the short story I mentioned, where he was asked by Kil'jaedan to come here and open up the Fellstorm, so basically absorbed a ton of Fel power. At first, he wasn't going to do it, because he wanted to be the guy on top. I showed this in the backstory, where he was done being the one below. He wanted to make a world that would grovel to him. He wanted to be the guy on top from now on. So then Khadgar and Maiev start fighting him after he's absorbed all this power, and he's insanely powerful. And he gets weirded out by this. It freaks him out because he doesn't understand why they're fighting him. Because he knows that they know that he could kill him, and yet they're still fighting him. It just kind of it's almost like a short-circuiting of the brain where he just cannot comprehend or understand this. But then that's when he has a realization that that's what he would always be having to deal with from that point on, being the guy on top. So he gives up the ambition, realizing it's better and safer to not be the guy on top, but be the guy helping, like maybe second, third, or fourth on the totem pole. And he pours that power he had into the tomb, which opens up the Fellstorm, which begins the Legion invasion. And that's what this is referring to. Tore down Aegwynn's wards and opened a doorway for the Legion to invade. Now the Fel army tears at the vault, hoping to reclaim their master's power. Which is going to be a plot point that Kil'jaedan is going to say later on. But again, we've never received full confirmation about some of these things. Including what he says about like how this tomb is going to be our true goal. And it's like, okay, why? We never get an answer. Not really. The only thing I can think of is the Avatar itself. Probably because we stopped their attempt to have Illidan's body be the new Avatar. But that's a whole separate thing. So anyways, you'll see here, we have basically done the entire Legion Fall campaign and rallied these forces, all the forces of Azeroth here, not the Horde and the Alliance, the Legion Fall, which is like all the Class Order Hall forces and everything, are here together to help us with this battle into the raid to try and finally seal the portal and end the Legion invasion. So we get in here, and you can see there's a battle already going on. Illidan's in here. He's fighting a, what looks like a Doom Guard.
None standing.
If we fail here, Azshara burns.
Let them come. Their bodies will fuel the flames of their burning world.
That's Atrigan. We'll get to him later. There's Velen in the middle.
Fall back!
Oh, this used to be a cutscene. So Khadgar teleported all of them back over here to safety.
Intruders! Killing you will regain my master's favor.
So, here's a funny visual. Illidan and Maiev. Yeah, by the way, as I mentioned, Illidan has new warglaves because we took the Azzinoth ones from Black Temple, so he doesn't have them anymore, so he had to get some new ones. What's sad for me is that those are the Mage Tower appearances that we can actually get ourselves. At least we could back then when there was content that was available. It's not available anymore, so I will never have those cool looking warglaves. But I have the Azzinoth ones from Black Temple, so I'm okay. I'm not too broken up about it. But yeah, you can see the aesthetic of the Temple of Elune. A lot of it is still intact from back then. And then there's a bunch of it that's been completely corrupted by the Fel. So, yeah. So, let's clear up these infernals here before we deal with this guy over here. Go ahead and, of course, aggro these infernals. Alright. Also, that guy backpedaled over there. You'll also notice over here, it's showing that the Aegis of Agrimar is already in place, because again, we placed it during the dungeon, Cathedral of Eternal Night, which was up there. This was really cool. If you do the dungeon of Cathedral of Eternal Night, you're running through here as the entrance over there, all the way around, as you're making your way up to the area to place the Aegis, and you encounter the bosses up there, as well as Mephistroth. But you can be able to actually look down over the side here and look and see the battle that takes place in this area. It was a really cool way to be able to kind of look at the raid while you're doing the dungeon. Goroth. As punishment for past failures, Goroth's flesh is marred with searing wounds. With every movement this behemoth makes, his flesh crackles and hisses with unending torment. A scourge he is happy to inflict upon those who oppose him. Yeah, this is basically like a pit lord with a ridiculous amount of fel just kind of poured into him, as you can see. You can see how much it's changed his flesh. Just look at that.
Come, face your doom. Agony to come.
Hey, Egwin.
The echo of the Guardian Egwin appears, just as she did in the cathedral.
I sealed each level of this temple so that no invader could descend into its depths. I never anticipated that the Legion would find another way to breach its dark heart. My protective wards now bar your way. Each seal can only be opened with one of the pillars of creation. Be warned. The demons will stop at nothing to prevent your advance. I can sense one of the Legion's masters working to reanimate the Avatar of Sargeras. Should Kil'jaeden infuse that husk with the Dark Titan's power, I do not know whether any force on this world can stop it.
Then we have no time to lose. Heroes, the paths are open. Use the Pillars of Creation to bypass Aegwyn's wards before the Legion claims the Avatar.
Yeah, it took her, with the power of the Guardian, and Aluneth, I believe, to defeat the Avatar. That's how powerful it is. We don't have a Guardian anymore. I mean, we have Khadgar, but he doesn't have the power of the Guardian. That's a big deal. That's supposed to kind of give you an idea as to what we would be facing if Kil'jaeden is successful with the Avatar. So we already have the Aegis in place. So we now have the other pillars. What's funny is, I don't recall if we ever actually used the Eye of Aman'Thul, or actually needed it for this raid.
It's too far away. I'm out of range. Admit that I am right. Break the body, and the spirit follows. Physical pain. Bah! Mental anguish is the true weapon. Was it not the key to turning Rakish? Bah! It was the suffering I inflicted, which... Hold! The mortals come! That fool Goroth has failed again! Sooner than expected, but no matter. Our work begins!
So, yeah, these two. The Demonic Inquisition. Anticipating the arrival of mortal forces invading the Tomb of Sargeras, Kil'jaeden has called on his best captors, Atrigan and Belak, to lock down the interlopers and prevent them from using the pillars to advance deeper into the dungeon. So these are like the best torturers that the Legion has. You caught what they said, right? These are the guys who turned Rakish, Velen's son, into a full-on Eridar following the Legion. They're responsible for what happened to Velen's son. Yeah, I enjoy taking these guys down every time I'm in here. They also have a kind of a cool fight here where we actually have this meter of something called agony, and when it fills up, we have to go into one of those cages that's on his back in order to fight something while we try and also gain hope. Now, there's a boss in there that has a ridiculous amount of health. Now, I can't show this off to you guys because I'm soloing this, and that's the kind of thing that resets a boss fight encounter. But it's a cool thing.
This will hurt. I promise. Then will release mortals. This defeat will haunt me. There is more pain to come.
So now, you can place the Hammer of Khasgoroth.
This hammer forged ancient wonders and shaped the earth itself. Today, it shatters the bonds of fate that seek to crush us all.
So now let's go pay a visit to some Naga forces. Now, if you're wondering why is there, like, kind of a thing set up here? Well, here's the thing. When they were first designing the Broken Shore for this expansion, like, way in, like, the early stages, they originally were planning to kind of follow the original lore, because the original lore, back in the days of Warcraft 3, was that Gul'dan elevated this place, like, out of the water. Like, the entire place out of the water, because it was basically submerged. So they were kind of intending to have this place kind of be kind of like half above water, half underwater, or something, kind of that kind of setup. They ended up obviously changing that.
Understood my use of the Naga to obtain the Eye of Sargeras, but it was a necessary tactic to secure the future of Azeroth. Let nothing stop you from doing what needs to be done.
So they wanted to try and use that somewhere. So this is where they end up using it. Huh, here's the world quest guy. He's just right here blocking our path.
It's too far.
Ew.
That greedy giant met the end he deserved. Well done.
Thanks, Khadgar.
These fools bring the Tidestone to us, just as our blessed queen foresaw. Slay the intruders. Take back what is ours.
Oh, okay. She's waiting for me to fight the actual Murlocs that they have enslaved here, because of course they have. Khasgoroth was trained from birth to demolish his enemies. Though through a conquest of savage brutality, he gathered throngs of cave-dwelling Murlocs who see him as a god. Now, the Naga Brute merely has to bark a command and hordes of devout followers set themselves to task. Like I said, this is one of their first, other than the stuff we saw in Azuna, this is where they were kind of really starting to tease the whole stuff about what was going to happen in BFA, because they even talk about the Tidestone of Golganath, which they were after in Azuna, and now they're like, oh, look, they're bringing it right to us. Because remember, we know what they wanted it for. We saw this in BFA, where they actually used the Tidestone to do the whole opening of the ocean thing to be able to get us into Nazjatar. So...
pummel their bones to dust.
Time to smash!
Quiet, you mindless oaf! Kill them!
We'll see her later. Actually, she'll be the next boss we face. But, yeah, this guy has a funny motivation.
Azshara sanguine!
Yeah, that's one of the things I was trying to...
Why the queen was fond of him, I'll never know.
I was trying to get him to say the line where he's like, I was like pretty queen. Just to kind of show that whole mentality that some of the Naga have. They're, the whole, they will do absolutely anything for their pretty queen, Azshara. Alright, hold on. There is a shortcut that you can do where we actually jump down right there. But I wanted to show you guys the path that you're in, that they kind of want you to take. Plus it lets me be able to show off the raid a little bit more. And in case you're wondering, yes, I am intending to show you guys the fun Easter egg that you can find in here. Which, you would never be able to do this with a group because the group is just running through it. They don't want to bother. Any possible shortcut you can take to shorten up the run, that's usually what groups will take. So, take note of those things, because it's possible I could get a mount from this that looks like that from this next boss. This next boss is the reason why I feel the need to come here and farm this place. Because she can drop a mount that I believe can drop on any difficulty.
It's too far away.
So there is a chance, because I still haven't gotten the mount, that I could actually get this to drop here on camera. So wish me luck, guys. Mistress Sazine has spent a lifetime binding the denizens of the ocean to her dark will. With this power, she summons nightmares from the briny depths to wash away any who dare challenge her. This is kind of a cool boss, because she is a pet boss. She's like a pet class. So, how many of you have ever wanted a class in this game where you're basically just doing lots of stuff with your pets? It's kind of what I've always wanted for Demo Warlock and even Beastmaster Hunter, or even Unholy DK, just having tons of minions to toss out at your opponents and just manage them. I know some people are going to say, oh, that's not balanced or whatever. I like, the cool ideas, and I can toss out the idea of, why don't we just separate it from PvP and not worry about balance and all that stuff, but, that's, I'm just one of those weirdos, I guess. But there's actually a number of different kind of, like, pets and such she'll actually call upon to face us in this fight. It's kind of cool.
Reach your end, mortal filth!
I'm gonna see whether or not I can actually show off some of it.
Not all storms strike from the skies! Face the might!
Yeah, those things right there.
We need the waves!
You can see the Abyss Worm. She can drop this. I've never had it drop. Wish me luck.
My queen has given me dominion over the seas!
Where is it? So she's supposed to summon, like, a kraken. Oh, there it is, there it is. So it's kind of lurking outside, just waiting for her to call upon it to do a couple different things to help defeat us. Just don't remember when she actually does it.
Suffer the chill of the depths!
It's not really indicating the different stages here.
Rip their bones clean!
Alright, I'm just gonna go ahead and kill her.
Such death is beneath me!
Nope. No mount. So let's place the Tide Stone. Remember, we're going to just leave it here. We're not going to come back for this thing. We're going to just leave it here, and then later they're going to just kind of wander in here, take it, and bring it to Azshara anyway. So...
From this stone flowed rivers and seas, the very lifeblood of Azeroth. Today, it washes clean the darkness that scars our world.
So that's basically the extent of the Naga portion of this raid. The next portion is gonna kind of, thank you. By the way, I believe that might be a statue of Azshara? It could just be a night elf, because of course this was about Elune, not Azshara. It's gonna have to do with the fact that this was the temple of Elune. Obviously on a DK, it takes a while to get around this place. Oh, if I was on my shaman or druid, we'd be going a lot faster, right?
An age has passed since I last walked these halls. I did what needed to be done, though at great cost. Be on your guard. I doubt the spirits trapped here will be friendly or forgiving.
Yeah. Spirits of those who used to reside here in the Temple of Elune.
I need to get closer.
And you see that there was like a little library that was over here. The next boss is over in that room over there. I'm trying to remember exactly where I need to go to be able to deal with, or to be able to try and help make sure I showcase the Easter egg for you guys. Because it's such a cool, unique thing that I really want to make sure I show it off. Because hardly anyone ever gets to actually see it. Because groups are always just kind of blazing through here. See, like a little area of water there that they would have gone to kind of wash themselves. I'm not stepping on that because that's a trap, which is annoying to get out of. Aha. That door over there, which no one ever goes through, by the way. Because why would they? It's all about killing the boss and moving on.
Defilers! They must be purged from Elune's sacred temple.
Sisters, on your guard.
My arrows are always ready, Casparian.
Sorry. I didn't realize clearing the trash was gonna trigger that dialogue. My bad. I'm trying to remember if this is the area here. If this is the room that helps me go there. Or if this is just kind of an extra room here to help showcase more of what's going on. Here's what I'm talking about. That trap right there. I had to use Icebound Fortune to get out of there because it's a big 15-second stun. Kind of a cool little room here. Oh, I think it's up here, actually.
I'm out of range.
this it? It is! This is the room. So... You guys remember how I mentioned that the original Gul'dan met his fate back in the Frozen Throne? Hold on. There he is. That is the remains of the original Gul'dan. Oops. Don't stand in the fell. Now that's interesting. An Orcish rune. Wonder what that does. Oh my goodness, I am Gul'dan! Ooh. Oh, we get to see his final moments. And that's where he fell after being mortally wounded. So yeah, for a few minutes we get to actually be the original Gul'dan. The curse of Gul'dan! Lingering essence clings to you. So we get to have liquid hellfire. We get to do Fel Efflux. And Fel Scythe. So yeah, let's go test this out against some NPCs out here, shall we? Behold the power of the Fel! It's a really cool little Easter egg that you can be able to do here, because you get to run around as the actual Gul'dan for a bit. Oh, I triggered the trap. Now I'm stunned for 10 seconds. I missed! Apparently this guy, Oh, okay, there we go. Yes! The power of the Fel! And that will allow me to go back to the main area, but let's go ahead and make our way back towards where the sisters are. Don't worry, this is wearing off in just a bit. I don't know how effective this is against the actual raid bosses in this, but it's a cool little Easter egg thing, you know. It's just kind of a cool little extra thing. I don't know how many people in the raid group could actually do this. Maybe you can only get one person? I don't know. I find it funny that these are yellow instead of red, because at the moment they only see me as, like, an Echo Gul'dan. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that little Easter egg. I think it's really cool. So, these are the Sisters of the Moon. The Sisters of the Moon served as wardens for the temple long before the avatar of Sargeras was buried beneath it. Even in death, the sisters maintained their vigil, but over the millennia, something's twisted their ability to distinguish friend from foe. Their madness slowly consumed them, and now any who enter their sacred chamber are put to death. Huh. She's got the vicious mount that you can get in PvP. I have one of those.
I claim first blood, sisters.
Goddess, guide your hand.
You are ever impetuous, Casparian.
So yeah, this is also kind of, you notice the floor? Yeah, this has to do with what's going on here when it comes to a dot that you
Not
get.
invade my volley.
No more dawdling, Casparian. Victory shall be mine!
The king is cut.
I will dismiss these heretics, you think?
We failed. The goddess. No. I should have won. Elune, forgive us.
Yeah. Kind of type 2 undead, I believe, that are just basically kind of stuck at a certain point in time. Kind of sad. This next portion, whoo boy. It's actually kind of cool, though, and I'll talk about why, because we had a boss at the end of BFA that had a kind of a similar type of thing in terms of a concept of how it works. By the way, in case you think, oh, this is a gauntlet, this trash must be horrible to go through. No, it's not. Trust me, it's not. The worst trash you will be seeing later. The next boss we have to face is that thing. This is the Desolate Host. Once, this was a sacred burial site for the Night Elves, but the Legion has twisted these grounds with the Engine of Souls. This foul machine draws upon the energy of the dead, twisting them into abominations. Due to this corruption, these tormented spirits have become monstrosities, looking to feed on any who descend into the tomb's depths. It has an awesome voice, by the way. This also can be able to actually turn to something else, because this is the Engine of Souls, and then it will actually eject the Desolate Host, which is going to actually look a lot like the boss from Ice Crown, Marrowgar. Yeah, Marrowgar. I was about to look it up, but I'm like, no, I know this boss's name. Marrowgar. What's also cool about this fight is that this is another fight that has the 2 layers concept, as I refer to it, where there's this floor, and then when you click on this, there's another floor. We sometimes refer to this as top side and downside. The idea is that you have players on the top side and players on the downside doing 2 different sets of mechanics in order to deal with the fight, and it's kind of cool in that regard. I can't really show it off because it would probably reset the encounter. But this was something I remember dealing with the N'Zoth fight, where we had to have some players stay on the top side to deal with some of the tentacles that did some damage as well as adds, while players on the downside were having to do the mechanic with the main portion, I forget what it's called, the big thing that chased you around in that area, and you had to kind of take it down or just stun N'Zoth out of his shield. But the other players had to stay up top to deal with the other tentacles because the damage they would do if you didn't kill them would wipe the raid. So it's kind of a really cool kind of top-side-downside fight in that regard. Like I said, I wish I could show it off to you, but some of these will tend to reset the encounter. But you can even see these wardens here that have basically been reanimated to be guardians of this thing, and you can even see little spirits kind of around the area here. But you can see this is the last of the pillars we have to place.
For the engine.
There it is.
Upon your suffering. Such bitter harvest.
Gosh. You can just see how corrupted by the Fel this place is. Ooh. Couple of pieces for me. Not really fond of the set here.
These tears of perfect beauty embody the dream of what our world could be. Today, they purify your hearts for the battle to come.
Alright. So, all those are
The
placed.
pillars of creation are in place. Return to the cathedral, and I will reveal the ancient secret this temple holds.
So, when we do runs here, everyone jumps off here because it takes us right back to the main room here. I'm actually going to try and run back. I know, sounds crazy, right?
It's too far.
Huh. Fanberg the Vicious. I guess an extra little boss. Will you stop it with the Soul Guard? That poor ghoul's trying to get through. Let me through, boss! This actually takes us back to where the sisters were. Then we go back to that area that I was showing you before. Just allows me to show more of that. You can see the little fountains there. You get the real sense that this was a night elf temple as you're running through this place. Before, you know, all that happened. Hey guys, I'm back. By the way, in case you're curious, yes, there is a skip here, though there's really no reason for it. I mean, okay, I take that back. There is a couple of possible reasons. One is that there is a secret weapon that drops from the upcoming boss. The other is that there are certain transmogs you can get from the last couple of bosses.
Ancient power. A vault I believed would safeguard the husk of my fallen foe. But with his disciples' aid, the Dark Titan threatens to return to this world stronger than before.
We will put a stop to Kil'jaeden's plan, Egwene. This time, we will not fail.
Bold words, Khadgar. But victory requires more than courage alone. The armies of your alliance and horde had courage before facing slaughter on the broken shore. The deceiver will turn your fears and doubts against you.
Kil'jaeden hounded my people across the stars, but we are done running. He will pay for his atrocities against our world and my son.
You're right, Illidan. Kil'jaeden and the Legion have defeated each of us in the past. But if we stand together, Azeroth can yet be saved. I know it!
Oh, and here's the skip quest, by the way. As we sealed the tomb, I entrusted the final piece of Sargeras' prison to the Maiden of Vigilance. If you had it, you could move freely throughout the tomb, but I know not what became of the Keeper, and fear the worst. So then we have to collect 4 fragments from the Maiden of Vigilance in order to be able to get the skip.
Farewell.
So this right here is, once again, a, hey, here's the upcoming mechanic, learn it before you face the boss. I'm gonna grab, it's light and fell, where you have to choose one, and then you have to stick with the other, because if you run into the other, it will hurt. Now, it's not hurting me a lot right now because I'm max level and really high geared, but usually if you were doing this at regular level, it would hurt, because that's kind of the point. You have to make sure you run through the one you've already picked and stick with it. I'll talk about the Maiden in just a moment. But her weapon that she's wielding is a secret drop. It's not even listed in the guide. It's similar to a couple of weapons that you can get in the next raid, Antorus, that are not listed either. They're secret drops. So that's one reason, if you want to get the skip, that you could be able to unlock it, so you can run in here and just go, after you take care of Goroth, just run straight to the Maiden if you want to be able to farm that. And then, of course, there are some pieces that can drop from the next couple of bosses, which are, the last 2. But, of course, it really depends on what it is you're specifically farming and on what difficulty. Like, there are some transmog pieces that Mythic Kil'Jaedan drops, which I'm probably never going to get because, well, I'll talk about why when we get there. The Maiden of Vigilance, which is a Titan construct, kind of like Mother that we see in BFA, but she is very corrupted by the Fel, as you can see there. Proof that that can happen, since some people debate whether or not that can happen. As you can see, it can. Charged by Aegwynn to defend the Tomb of Sargeras, the Maiden of Vigilance has stood watch for hundreds of years, yet the Guardian did not foresee what effect the Avatar's seeping Fel energy would have on this Titan construct. Slowly warped by this maleficence, the Maiden now seeks to destroy any in her path. She has a very simple mechanic for this fight. You get infused with a certain type, Fel or light, and then you have to stick with one or the other. Stick with that one. If you get hit by the other, you have a bomb placed on you, which will go off after a certain amount of time, which launches you up into the air and has you fall back down and does lots of damage. The way you counter that is you jump into the pit here at a specific, a certain time, so that when it goes off, it launches you back up onto the platform to safety without doing, that much damage. Part of the issue is the timing, plus if you do too many, you can cause a lot of big AoE damage, and this is something that can usually lead to a lot of wipes. So, yeah. We'll see how this goes. I'm going to try and burn her down as fast as I can because, well, let's just say I'd rather not die a lot.
You will not disturb the Master's work. Know the torment of a soul divided.
So she infused me with light.
End me, my vigil ends. Let not the Dark One awaken.
I don't remember that pad ever being there. All we've ever done is take the elevator here. Now, this is going to... By the way, look at the lights there. This is going to give me an opportunity to show you guys the Titan machine that this temple is over. Because that's what this is. It's a full Untitled machine. What does it do? To this day, we don't know. They've never told us what this machine is for, what it does. What's funny is that we're gonna hear Kil'jaeden talk in a moment here about how this is their true goal, their true, prize. Not like the Avatar, but this actual temple and tomb itself. But you can even see how far this down goes. You can see those there. Goes, past the molten area. I'm trying to show as much as I can here. It's going by really quick. You can see all the fell area. That's deep down in here. The farther down we go. Because remember, we're heading down to the area where the Avatar is locked up. The chamber of the Avatar. It's way down here. So the only thing that I can think of is that this is meant to be a prison for the Avatar. That's like one of the only things I can think of, is that this is really meant and designed to actually be a prison for the Avatar of Sargeras, because they never wanted to see the light of day again, considering how it was something that could have actually destroyed Azeroth before, if it wasn't for Khasgoroth.
Damnable mortals! You scurry through this tomb like vermin, dispatching my underlings and imagining yourselves the equals of the Legion. Heroes, champions, fools! The husk before you was once a vessel for the might of Sargeras. But this temple itself is our prize. The means by which we will reduce your world to cinders. Still, I will not deprive you of this chance to fall before an ancient wonder. Let this Avatar be the end of you!
I'm sorry, the lack of sound and music is kind of bothering me. I'm like, where's the music? Oh. No. Alright, whatever. So, I have a bit of talking to do here. First off, I forgot to mention, I love Kil'jaeden's new model. It's a much better looking model compared to what he used to have back in BC. So, you see what I mentioned about how he was like, oh, this temple is our true prize. It's the means by which we will reduce your world to cinders. How? I'm not going to tell you. That's basically what the devs have done. They've never let us know how this temple was going to be the means that they would do that. Before we do this fight, I gotta talk about something. Because right after, there's going to be some stuff that plays, and I'm hoping it doesn't bug, so I can show you the entirety of it. I mentioned about how our entire goal this whole time has been to seal away the Legion and stop their invasion. Not to actually defeat them, but just to win another battle, not to win a war. However, things have gradually changed during this expansion. There are a few people here with us that have had big moments who also have knowledge that changes that. Khadgar, Velen, and Illidan. The thing is, many characters in Warcraft do not know or understand what the Legion really is on a grand scale, like what they actually are as a threat. Because some think, they're just a demon army. No, they are so much more than that. They're so much more of a legitimate, actual, incredible threat. They're much more than just an army. This is something that Illidan found out from Sargeras himself, which changed things for him. once he had that big revelation. Khadgar has since learned about that, and of course Velen has first-hand knowledge about that because he first heard about this from Sargeras himself as well back on Argus. We actually see this cutscene later on when we go to Argus. Spoilers, we're going to Argus after this. You'll see this at the end of this raid anyway. But they've also, each of them have had big moments. Illidan's moment was, of course, long ago when he first became a demon hunter and had the resolution of we need to find another way to actually stop them and defeat them, because sealing them away will not do anything, because they'll just keep coming back at us with another army and another until we are defeated, because they can do that. Khadgar had a big moment where he had his mindset about this change when we did the Return to Karazhan dungeon, when Medivh said to him, sometimes you need to have the courage to walk through a door instead of close it. And that was something that resonated with Khadgar, that he had to think about later. And then for Velen, the big moment for him was when his son died. And we saw this when we did the Fallen Star scenario at the Exodar. That moment changed things for Velen, because up until that point, Velen had been very passive and had not really been doing anything, and had just simply been hiding and just kind of waiting, just kind of hoping things wouldn't get worse. And then he had that vision, realizing that Rakeesh was his son. That Kil'jaeden had a helping hand in turning his son into a loyal Eredar, and then that eventually led to his death. That's the moment where Velen said, no more. I'm done with this. I'm done running. I'm done hiding. I am done letting Kil'jaeden do this to me and my people. We're going to go home and stop this. That's been going on throughout our time here in this expansion. And because of those moments, it's going to be having an impact on what you're about to see after we defeat this avatar. It's one of my favorite plot twists they've ever done. And you'll see what I'm talking about, because again, up until, we will have our big confrontation with Kil'jaeden after we beat the avatar, where we actually talk to him, and he will say what I've just told you about how it's like, oh, we'll come back. It's like, oh, you may have won this time, but we'll be back. And then it's like, oh, let's go ahead. We've won, so let's go ahead and seal the portal and end this. Remember that. What I just told you about the different moments for each of these characters, and how that was our goal this whole time, and we could have accomplished that goal at that moment. Just remember that. So, this is the fallen avatar of Sargeras. The last time this thing was around, it had the actual power of Sargeras, and it took Aegwynn with the power of the Guardian, and I think Aluneth as well, in order to actually kind of somewhat stop him. Not really defeat him, because, well, this thing was basically running around with the power of Sargeras. It's incredibly powerful. This has also gone down as one of the toughest and most difficult boss fights in the history of World of Warcraft, at least the mythic version. And I've done the mythic version of this numerous times doing Mog runs. I can absolutely see why. I'll talk about that when we get to the second level. This whole floor is about to fall, and we're going to fall to a lower level. And then there's going to be a kind of an enrage mechanic where he's going to start the longer it goes on, he's going to start to break the platforms until there's eventually no more platforms left, unless you are able to do something to kind of like buy yourself more time, soaking stuff, which can do damage, and yeah. It's a rough fight. So, the general thing that everyone always reminds people about when they do a run for this is save your cooldowns for when we get to the next level. Don't use your cooldowns now. Wait until we get there. Then pop all your cooldowns.
I need to get closer. Mortals!
It's kind of a, I don't know, like a robotic kind of personality at this point, where it's just, mortals! Yeah, this hurts. Burn. I've heard him say that so many times. There's Kil'jaeden. By the way, they're going to be flying down here to help to confront Kil'jaeden while we're fighting this thing.
We have come to end your invasion of Azeroth. Your master's crusade dies here!
Is there no end to your sanctimonious bluster, Velen? You claim the mantle of prophet, yet you always lacked the vision to see the inevitable destiny of our world. Of all worlds.
Flames!
That's the mechanic I was talking about. By the way, I'll be commenting about that thing with Kil'jaeden, what he just said, in just a bit. But you can even see that Illidan is fighting Kil'jaeden. That's kind of awesome. With Velen and Khadgar there to help him out. Don't bug. Please don't bug.
You fight us. Still, you deny the inevitable.
Have your countless
incessant resistance is maddening.
Deceiver.
Why will you not
The
yield?
vision Sargeras showed you was a lie, Kil'jaeden. Surrender! Let it end!
Never! Our crusade will never yield! Savor your shallow victory. We will return, again and again, however long it takes, until at last we break you!
The portal is closing! We can seal the Legion's gateway and end this invasion!
No! No more running! No more hiding! I must finish this!
Velen! Stop!
Sealing the portal buys us nothing, Archmage. Whether it takes a few years or millennia, the Legion will return. Over and over again, until too few of us remain to fight them. It is time to seize our fate. We must use the portal and follow the Deceiver into the abyss. It is the only way.
I agree. It is the only way. Go, champions. We have precious little time to save Velen and return before the portal closes.
Come. If we are to die in the Nether, we will take the Deceiver with us.
That right there. That's what I was talking about. That moment where Khadgar's like, the portal's closing, quick, we can seal them away. Because at that moment, we could have gotten victory, and the expansion would have been over. Until Velen says, no. And then, of course, Illidan's just explanation there is just so on the money. It's so true. And Khadgar, who had that moment, who remembered Medivh telling him, we have to walk through this door instead of closing it, realized this is what he was talking about. That it is the only way. We can't seal them away. We have to go at them and finish them off for good. Later, when we go to Argus, we will find out this was the absolute right decision because of what we find out Sargeras is actually doing on Argus. And if we had sealed them away, he would have pulled off that plan and we would have lost. So this was absolutely the right call. And that's worth noting. It's also worth noting, as he just said, we're now going to be following Kil'jaeden to his own personal command ship in the Twisting Nether. This next portion is actually kind of cool. It's also very frustrating, but it's kind of cool. I mean, after all, we're about to go face Kil'jaeden again. But because this is in the Nether, this should be the last time. So welcome to Kil'jaeden's personal command ship in the Twisting Nether. You can see Kil'jaeden is up there, kind of already made his way up there to that platform, kind of waiting for us. I hate this trash. I hate this trash so much with a fiery passion. These Shadow Council warlocks are infuriating. You know why? Because they put a big stacking debuff on you that is absolutely infuriating and just eventually just stacks on you and kills you. I hate this trash so much. I absolutely hate and despise this trash. Yeah, Agony, I believe, is what they keep stacking on you. Just like, you know, other warlocks, like what we can do, right? But yeah, you can see all these big demons here that, of course, they're here because they are, I'm sure, part of Kil'jaeden's, like, you know, personal force here. So, yeah. Fortunately, as a Death Knight, I have a couple ways to counter these warlocks and their stacks. So, yeah. I don't know why the music I usually hear in this place is not playing. But you can see Velen is over here. Illidan should be over there. That's, of course, looks like the platform he'd be commanding the ship from. But now he saw that we followed, so he's like, okay. You want to fight me? Fine. I realized I forgot to read the thing on the Fallen Avatar. Excuse me. When Egwene defeated the Avatar of Sargeras, she was unable to destroy his avatar. In an effort to seal it away, the armor was entombed beneath the Temple of Elune, where it remained dormant for hundreds of years. Now with the Legion rearing down the tomb's barriers, Kil'jaeden is in a position to reanimate the armor and unleash its power on Azeroth. And now, Kil'jaeden. Since striking the bargain that chased the Draenei into the stars, Kil'jaeden believed the Legion could not be stopped. Yet none of his deceptions have prevented you from reaching this critical moment. Infuriated that Sargeras' promise of victory has never come to pass, the Demon Lord prepares to face you himself, for a final battle that will shape Azeroth's destiny forever. Now, this fight has its issues, at least on higher difficulties. On normal, it's actually not that bad. Even on heroic, it's not that bad. On mythic, however, it has a mechanic that is infuriating and makes everyone not want to even do it. There are a few mechanics here I actually think are kind of cool, though I constantly tell people that they have to do them properly, otherwise we will take a lot of damage and wipe. So he has a few different stages, which is part of the reason why you can't just walk up and just one-shot him, because he tends to fly away and do some other stuff. He has Fell Claws for tanking. Armageddon is one where people have to soak it, otherwise the entire raid takes wide damage. He will then do this thing where he flies away and he'll be casting these beams, as well as he then also has these purple orbs. Okay, I have to talk about this. During that intermission there, on Mythic, he has this thing called Rupturing Singularity. He drops a pocket of space onto the ship's deck, which ruptures and doing lots of damage to players at the point of impact, and it knocks them back. Now, when I say knocks them back, I mean if this hits here and I'm standing here, it knocks me off the platform. You have to be right up against the orb, otherwise for it to knock you to the very edge there, otherwise you will get knocked off the platform. Here's the problem. A few seconds later, another drops, either at that corner, or that corner. So you have to see where the next one is coming, then position yourself right next, right at a way where it's going to actually knock you to the next orb. If you don't, you will die. because you'll get knocked off by the next one. It's so frustrating. It makes people leave all the time. I have only one single kill on Mythic Kil'jaedan because I had a group that was actually really strong and I was able to pull it off. But it's the only kill I've ever gotten on Kil'jaedan. And I was partly wanting him to get it because if you do so, it gives you a title called the Darkener, which I thought was a cool title for my Warlock. But fortunately, that mechanic is not here on normal. On Heroic, it's here, but it doesn't... Like, the knockback is, like, cut in half. So, yeah. One of the other really cool portions, though, is when you get to the other intermission, he's then going to pull off some really cool mechanic involving the shadows, which we're then going to need Illidan in order to actually help us. It's actually a pretty cool mechanic. Then the third stage, where he activates another one called Darkness of 1,000 Souls, which is a pretty awesome attack, but he's also going to do something in the background here that's going to be pretty important for the story. I'll try and catch it as best I can. Alright, Kil'jaedan. I will say, though, this is pretty epic, because like the final encounter with Gul'dan that we had in the Nighthold, this is Kil'jaedan. This is a character that we have known since Warcraft 3, who has been... He's called the Deceiver for a reason. He has been manipulating stuff behind the scenes constantly since for a long time. We first encountered him back in Warcraft 3, but he's been doing this for a long time. He did this back in... He's part of the reason why the Horde showed up on Azeroth in the first place for Warcraft 1, because he worked with Gul'dan to get the Horde to be part of the Legion and invade Azeroth on behalf of Sargeras. Yeah. And of course, he's been around even before that, assisting with things like the War of the Ancients back then. So this is an awesome final encounter. By the way, there's something I should mention. I don't think I caught it here. It didn't do it. So here's something that's cool for my Death Knight. This right here. So the lore behind my Blood DK artifact weapon, the Maw of the Damned, it reacts when you come here against Kil'jaedan. Normally it does. It didn't do it this time. But that's because this weapon was specifically designed by its creator to kill Kil'jaedan. That's what its purpose was. Kil'jaedan found out about that and punished the creator of this weapon by basically sealing his spirit within the weapon in eternal agony and pain and hunger. So whenever I've come here on my Death Knight, there have been times where I then get a little thing in the chat box that says, the Maw of the Damned vibrates in your grip as you approach Kil'jaedan. Meaning the spirit within is excited about the fact that we are about to kill Kil'jaedan, because we're finally about to help him get his revenge against Kil'jaedan. I just think it's a cool little touch that the weapon actually reacts to the presence of Kil'jaedan. So, anyways.
You were fools to follow me here.
You can see that Illidan and Velen are at the platforms preventing the demons from interfering.
Rains upon you.
So here's Armageddon. That's the big one over there. You then get a big debuff that hurts.
I don't have a target. Still you resist. Then let me repay your arrogance.
So yeah, he flies off to the side.
A vessel for my fury.
Yeah, and it's a dot. So it hurts. That's why you need the raid to absorb it, because otherwise everyone takes a lot of damage. Then he does this. Just blasts you with a beam of flame. By the way, this is when the orbs are dropping on Heroic and Mythic, and you have to run to those. So eventually he'll come back down here to fight us, while still doing these mechanics.
Consume them all! What is this? Even when your own doubts and fears are made manifest, you will not yield? Fall into dark.
Find me, champions, and I will grant you sight.
So yeah, I have to find Illidan. He's at a random spot on the platform. There he is. So then he will give me vision of the enemies on the platform. It lasts for a little bit.
Somehow you survived. No matter. Look upon our wonders, you mortals, and despair. Behold the world that shall be your tomb!
Argus, my beloved homeworld. What have they done to you?
I love that reaction from Velen. This is the first time he has seen his home planet in thousands of years, and it's... It looks horrible.
Consume them all!
I'm kind of waiting for him to do the mechanic so I can show it off. I think it's over there, so... There it is. I believe this is a play on a mechanic that he did back in Burning Crusade in the Sunwell. Where it's actually kind of pulling me towards it. It's like a black hole, basically. Yeah. Darkness of 1,000 Souls deals damage every 2 seconds. He drops those things there, which do more beams on you. So what do you guys say we actually finish off Kil'jaedan?
Your souls will soon know oblivion. Our fates are now one. Argus will be your tomb.
At least we will have died fighting.
Our war isn't over yet. Not while we hold the key to all worlds. Khadgar, take us home!
I was always envious of you. Your gift, your faith, your vision. I never believed that Sargeras could be stopped. Perhaps you will prove me wrong.
Everyone, get ready! Is everyone all right? What have you done?
Sometimes the hand of fate must be forced.
So, yeah, Way to go, Illidan. Though it's worth noting that the demon hunters in Legion during Legion reacquired the Sargerite keystone there in order for him to be able to have it ready there. But he was planning that so far ahead of time, because that's one of the mission he sends the demon hunters on back during the Black Temple, to get that keystone for that purpose, that reason. I love getting reminded why Illidan is my favorite character. So, that cutscene was awesome. I also want to talk about Kil'jaeden. Let me grab the loot real quick. So I want to talk about Kil'jaeden real quick. Because I think I heard some people say after this raid that they thought they were trying to kind of whitewash Kil'jaeden. That's not what was going on there. Because as it also said in the guide, and as he said, Kil'jaeden never once believed that Sargeras could actually be stopped. And it's something that kept subtly coming up throughout Legion. This idea that he kept offering because he thought it was the right thing to do. And he was kind of bothered that we weren't getting it. How are you not getting this? Sargeras can't be stopped, so just join us. Just willingly join us. Why are you not joining us? Why are you not getting this? Don't you understand? I like to associate a term that I heard dropped by Thanos in Avengers Infinity War to kind of help describe what's going on with Kil'jaeden. Kil'jaeden is someone who was cursed with knowledge. He, like other characters such as Illidan, gained the knowledge of what the Legion really is. And unlike others, he kind of crumbled under that knowledge. It was overwhelming to him, that knowledge. So his conclusion was, well, I'm not going to fight that. The smarter and wiser choice is to just simply join him and work with him. I mean, that's basically the only other choice you've got, right? That was his conclusion. It's something that in certain other forms of fiction, like Lord of the Rings, for example, when you think about it, the wiser choice is to join forces with Sauron, not fight against Sauron. What are you, insane? That kind of overwhelming power and evil? Why would anybody fight that? That's absurd. That was probably... Now, I know there's some stuff about the books, but the point I like to think is that the movie version of Saruman, that was the conclusion that he arrived at. When he was confronted with the knowledge of what Sauron is, how powerful he was and evil he was, he came to the conclusion that the wise decision was to join forces with Sauron, which is why he tried to encourage Gandalf to do the same thing. That's why in the movie he says, "We must join him, Gandalf. We must join with Sauron." Because in his mind, it's the wise decision to make. If you're not going to be able to beat them, so join them. That's Kil'jaeden with his conclusion about Sargeras. That's what's really going on there. And I love that there is that moment he's having with Velen, because Kil'jaeden and Velen were friends a long time ago, and they've had a very rough, rocky history, very bad history. So in that moment, they get to share with each other. I like that he wasn't necessarily like hoping we were going to defeat him. He was just like, well, I never thought he could be defeated, but you know what? Maybe you'll actually prove me wrong. And you notice that he's like, trembling and such. And then Velen touches him and he just stops moving. He just stops trembling. It's almost like he finds kind of almost like an inner peace within him from that touch. And then Velen leaves, and and Kil'jaeden just closes his eyes and just accepts his death. He died in the Twisting Nether. He's gone. Kil'jaeden died in the Twisting Nether. He is permanently dead. He's not coming back. At least I hope not. If Blizzard comes up with some ridiculous reason to bring him back, I'm gonna be upset. Follow the rules of your setting, darn it. And then there's the, unfortunately, it's gone because, that is there now. I'm still in the instance, by the way. I'm not exactly in the out and about, even though we're actually on Azeroth. But now, which is funny because the Sea of the Pantheon there. I think because this is an instance, they should just simply keep the Argus thing right there. Because it used to be Argus would be right there, and we're looking at like, oh my gosh. Now, it's not actually right there. What the Sargeras Keystone did is it opened a portal between Azeroth and Argus. Argus is still in the same place it was before. We've just now opened a gigantic window for us to go straight from Azeroth to Argus. That's what's happened here. That's what Illidan did. So he didn't actually, move the planets next to each other. That's not how that's actually working, so. But yeah, this was the ultimate goal and plan here. For us to go to Argus and finally defeat the Legion once and for all. I love it. I thought it was awesome. So let's talk to everybody before we leave here and call this a night before we get ready for Antorus.
We must unite against the Legion.
I always knew that I would see Argus again. Our homecoming appeared time and again in my visions. But I never imagined this. There can be no doubt that the fates of my world and yours are intertwined. Can Argus be saved? Or must it be sacrificed to stop Sargeras? My visions are clouded, uncertain. It seems we must forge our own destiny. Light save us all.
By the way, he's been having Ramul work on the Vindicar since the events of the Exodar. So, they've been working on it the whole time we were doing this. That's why then it's going to be ready to go by the time it's like, okay, let's go to Argus, and it's ready. So.
Will you join?
Knowledge is power.
Oh, excuse me.
The Sargerite Keystone tore through the fabric of reality. Now the home world of the Legion looms before us. Its armies poised to strike. Turalyon is out there somewhere. Illyria too, I hope. If we can find my old friends, perhaps the Army of the Light can help us end this war.
Be vigilant, friend.
Argus, throne of the Burning Legion. Its infernal machines provide Sargeras with an infinite army. Time to deprive the Dark Titan of his prize. Our course is clear. We must take the fight to Argus and bring the Legion to its knees.
Aegwyn.
King's honor, friend.
So that's just our exit out of the raid.
Safe travels.
So, I think the only clip I could probably show you is when we actually leave Azeroth for Argus. And, we have the little interaction between Velen and Illidan, and with Velen kind of giving us the final ultimatum at the very end of that clip as the trailer. I don't think I need to do the one where Illidan confronts or, declines Zero's offer. I could put it that way. I think the other one might be a little bit more appropriate as a lead into Antorus. But when we come back, we will be heading to the final raid of Legion. Antorus, the Burning Throne. I cleared it earlier to test whether or not I could pull it off. And as you can see, I can. So we will be doing that probably after the, I'll wait until after the reset to do it. But we will be heading to Antorus, the Burning Throne, the heart of the Burning Legion, when we return. Stay tuned.